Hello everyone, good morning. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 3D. Myself Tanish Virmani and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the International Conference on Technological Intelligence and Business Strategies TIBS 2026, Manila, Philippines. This conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held yesterday in Manila, Philippines, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 23rd to 24th June 2026. I hope you will all enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In these sessions, we have 8 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for the question and answer. After 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder about the same. There is another request to all participants that you please stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any queries, then you can write to us in the chat box. Before we start the session, I would like to introduce you to the chairs for this session. We have 2 chairs for the session. Professor April Gumnad is a professor at St. Louis University. She is actively engaged in teaching, research, and academic leadership, contributing to the advancement of higher education and scholarly development. Through her academic work, she supports innovation, research excellence, and student-centered learning in her field of expertise. The second chair is Dr. Junali Jasmine Jena. She is an assistant professor in the School of Computer Engineering at the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Odisha, India. Her research interests include machine learning, soft computing methods for pattern recognition, evolutionary algorithms for optimization problems, and data analytics, reflecting her focus on developing intelligent and efficient computational solutions. If you could share us some words, it would be great.
Hello, good morning to all. Thank you, Tanish, for such great introduction. I wish all the best to all our presenters today. So we can start as quick as possible.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Any words from you, April ma'am?
Good day, distinguished researchers, presenters, Dr. Junali, and our fellow participants. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to the International Conference on TIBS 2026. So this session, of course, will be reflecting the conference's commitment to advancing innovative research, fostering meaningful academic and industry collaboration. So thank you for joining us, and I wish all presenters a successful presentation and everyone a productive and engaging discussion. Thank you.
Hello, April ma'am. It will be really great sharing this session with you. Thank you, ma'am.
Like to start with the first presenter, Lord Francis Navarro, for the paper title Benchmarking Lightweight Transformer Models for Aspect Condition Sentiment Analysis of Tourist Reviews under Philippine LGU Deployment Constraints. Sir, you can start sharing your screen.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, just let me share my screen. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Lord Francis Navarro from Cebu Institute of Technology University. Our paper benchmarks 3 lightweight transformer models for aspect-based sentiment analysis of tourist reviews under the hardware constraints of a Philippine local government unit. Smart tourism treats online reviews as structured evidence for destination managers, and aspect based sentiment analysis is well suited to this. It tells them which parts of the experience visitors like or dislike. But in a developing country, LGU, the constraints are real: weak infrastructure, limited server capacity, few technical staff. Routing every review through a cloud LLM introduces cost, latency, connectivity, and privacy problems into a routine government workflow. The tools have to fit the environment. So the research question is deliberately practical, not just which model is most accurate, but which model gives the best trade-off between classification performance and deployability on the kind of hardware an LGU actually has. Accuracy alone is not enough. A model that a local office cannot host or cannot run fast enough is not useful, no matter how good its F1 score is. A full ABSA pipeline does two things. It detects aspects and assigns sentiments to each one. This study benchmarks only the sentiment classification stage, the golden boxes as you can see in the presentation. Each model receives a review and a specified aspects, then predicts the polarity. Aspect detection is handled upstream during annotation. The objectives are three: fine-tune and elevate the three transformers on the same aspect condition task, compare them against TF-IDF baselines using macro F1, and measure efficiency on CPU-only hardware to characterize the accuracy-efficiency trade-off. Reviews of the Chocolate Hills Complex in Bohol, drawn from Google Maps and TripAdvisor, form the dataset. Starting from 5,885 raw reviews, the pipeline retained 3,288 after removing rating-only records, very short reviews, duplicates, and non-English texts. This produced 7,555 aspect sentiment pairs, approximately 2.3 review per review. The distribution is positively skewed. Nearly 84% of raw reviews carry 4 or 5 stars, consistent with the typical pattern of online destination feedback. One design decision is worth noting. The corpus was split at the review level before annotation, so pairs derived from the same review cannot leak across the train, validation, and test sets. Corpus annotation used an LLM-assisted procedure. We defined a six-aspect tourism taxonomy adapted from existing ABSA work, which includes facilities, accessibility, service, value, cleanliness, and activities. Claude Haiku 4.5 assigned each review a positive, neutral, or negative label for each applicable aspect, with output constrained to structured JSON. Each review was validated against a locked label set with retries on failure, and the run was resumable. One caveat warrants emphasis. These are silver standard labels. There was no human inter-annotator validation has been conducted, and accordingly, all metrics reflect performance against this silver corpus. Three transformers formed the experimental set. Roberta at 125 million parameters as the high accuracy reference, Distilbert at 67 million as the compressed alternative, and Tinybert at 14 million as the smallest model. Two classical baselines were included, TF-IDF with logistic regression and TF-IDF with linear SVM. Both baselines received the same aspect conditioning signals as the transformers, preserving comparability. Models were evaluated on two dimensions. Quality, using macro F1 as a primary metric because it weighs all sentiments classes equally. And efficiency, which includes latency, memory, and parameter count, measured on a CPU-only desktop representative of a typical LGU hardware. Here are the classification results. On macro F1, Roberta leads at 0.682. 682, with Distilbert and Tinybert close behind at 6.62 and 0.60, and the TF-IDF baselines well below. The importance subtly is on the right. The TF-IDF baselines reach accuracy near Distilbert's, but their macro F1 collapses around 0.47 to 0.52. That gap is exactly why we use macro F1 as a primary metric. Accuracy can look fine while the model is actually failing on the minority sentiment classes. Certifying results by sentiment class reveals a consistent pattern. Negative sentiment, the navy bars, is detected reliably all across all models, while neutral, the red bars, is the hardest class for every model. The baselines fail to detect it, with logistic regression scoring below zero point 0.1 because they absorb neutral predictions into positive. Transformers form substantially better, with Roberta reaching 0.46. The practical consequence is direct. In tourism governance, neutral and mildly critical comments carry the operational signal, covering queuing, parking, pricing, and accessibility. A classifier that assigns neutral reviews to the positive class will understate emerging problems. The efficiency accuracy trade off is summarized in this figure. The vertical axis shows macro F1, the horizontal axis shows CPU latency, with positions further left indicating faster inference. Roberta on the upper right achieves the highest accuracy, but also with the highest latency and memory footprint, 91 ms and 475 MB, respectively. It therefore falls outside deployment viable zone, the shaded region bounded by the macro F1 above 0.60 and latency below 50 ms. The Dilbert falls within this zone. TinyBert is positioned at the far left, 7 milliseconds and 55 MB, and a 13-fold decrease in latency relative to Roberta, with macro F1 retained above 60. The shaded zone is a conservative reference of our own definition for responsive CPU-only dashboards, and this is not a universal standard. So the benchmark results indicate that model selection is a deployment decision, not only an accuracy ranking. Roberta presents the accuracy ceiling and is appropriate when classification quality takes precedence over hosting cost. The Dilbert occupies the middle ground between accuracy and efficiency, while TinyBert is the appropriate option for CPU-only LGU deployment. It achieves adequate macro F1 with a low memory footprint. These results enable a local government office to select a model with empirical justification, accepting a modest reduction in F1 in exchange for substantially faster inference, lower memory requirements, and simpler hosting. 4 limitations apply to this study. The corpus covers only one destination, the Chocolate Hills in Carmen. Rankings may not generalize to other sites. Also, English-only filtering underrepresents Filipino, Cebuano, and other languages and code-switched reviews. Labels are silver standard produced by a local large language model without human inter-annotator validation. A locally deployed aspect detector is not yet available. The pipeline retains an upstream LLM dependency. 4 priorities follow from these limitations. Validate labels with human raters, incorporate multilingual reviews, extend the corpus to additional destinations, and build a local aspect detector to enable fully on-prem deployment. Under CPU-only conditions, TinyBert is the most practical model for LGU tourism analytics, approximately 13 times faster than Roberta, a 55 megabyte memory footprint, and a macro F1 retained above the 0.60 threshold. Roberta remains the accuracy ceiling, while the Dilbert occupies the intermediate position. Model selection depends on the hardware capacity available. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and that's all for my presentation.
Ma'am, if you have any questions for the presenter.
Thank you. Permission to start, Miss Dr. Junali. Thank you for your insightful presentation, Sir Lord Francis. Your work contributes meaningfully to Chocolate Hills Complex in Bohol, Philippines. My question is, considering the multilingual nature of the Philippine tourism reviews, how might the performance of Roberta, Distilbert, and Tiny Bird change when Filipino and code switch reviews are included? And my last question is, what deployment challenges do you foresee for LGUs adopting these tourism analytics systems? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Uh, I think for the first question, I do acknowledge that uh, the researcher will still have to explore on that part, as we are only limited to the English only uh, reviews. No? Hopefully, in the future research or the next step, we would want to include those other languages as well. So it could be we still have to decide. Okay, as we all know, there are a lot of tourists here in the Philippines, and we can not only not limit to Cebuano and Filipino, but other languages as well worldwide. No, and then for the second one, I think in an LGU environment, basically one of the biggest constraints is the budget. So as we all know, when a certain local government unit wants to set something or wants to procure something, uh, it really relies on the budget of that specific local LGU. And usually, the computers or the devices that they have are not that good. No? So basically, that's the reason why I tested the model on a CPU only without any GPU processing, so that to check if does a specific LGU with an existing computer can actually host some uh, yeah the the model itself. No, so I think that's for my answer.
Thank you and congratulations, Sir Lord.
Thank you so much, Dr. April.
I must say, this is a really good work, and no questions from my side. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I would like to call the next presenter, Adeline, for the paper title, Business Strategy Formulation for Nula, a local Indonesian fashion brand, an integrated BMC, SWOT, and TAOS matrix approach.
Yes, I'm present. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Adeline Aulia Darsono Putri from Telkom University, Indonesia. Today, I will present our research on business strategy formulation for Neula, a local Indonesian fashion brand. This research is positioned within the growth of Indonesia's creative economy. Its value added increased from 852.24 trillion rupiah in 2015 to 1,532 trillion rupiah in 2024, contributing 6.92% to national GDP. Fashion is one of the dynamic subsectors with 37.21% growth potential in 2024 to 2025. Bandung also supports this ecosystem with more than 5,000 creative economy MSMEs, including 1,670 fashion businesses. These conditions create opportunities for local fashion brands. However, digital marketplaces, social media, and live commerce also intensify competition. Neula is a Bandung-based local fashion brand established in 2020. It offers women's apparel with the concept basic with a twist. The brand sells mainly through Shopee and TikTok Shop, supported by Instagram, TikTok, live streaming, bazaars, consignment store, and affiliate marketing. As of October 2025, Neula had 49,348 Instagram followers, and a 0.31% engagement rate. However, Neula still faces competition, trend changes, platform dependency, limited production capacity, supplier dependency, and creative team turnover. Previous studies have used BMC, SWOT, and TOS metrics for strategy formulation and business model redesign. Other studies have also integrated BMC with PESEL, Porter's Five Forces, and SWOT. However, limited studies have applied a complete integrated approach to a local Indonesian fashion brand that relies on marketplaces, social media, and live commerce. Therefore, this study answered three questions. First, how Neula current business model is mapped using BMC. Second, how external factors from PESEL and Porter's Five Forces are integrated with internal condition through SWOT based on the 9 BMC block. And third, what strategies can be formulated through those metrics to develop a new BMC. The study used several strategic management tools. BMC is used to map how Neula creates, delivers, and captures value. PESEL identifies macro-environmental factors, while Porter's Five Forces analyzes industry competition. SWOT integrates internal and external factors, and thus translate those findings into SO, WO, ST, and WT strategies for business model renewal. The study used a descriptive qualitative case study with Neula as the research object. Data were collected through in-depth interviews and documentation. The informants consisted of 3 internal respondents and 2 external respondents, including internal management, a customer, and a competitor. To strengthen credibility, the study used source triangulation. The analysis covered the existing BMC, external environment, SWOT, TOS, and new BMC. This slide shows Neula existing business model canvas. I will highlight the most important parts. Neula targets women aged 18 to 26, especially Gen Z consumers interested in basic fashion with unique details. Its value proposition is basic with a twist, supported by unique patterns, cutting, texture, original design, and strong visual identity. The main channels are Shopee, TikTok Shop, Instagram, TikTok, live streaming, bazaar, consignment stores, and affiliate marketing. Customer relationships are built through live streaming, customer service, social media interaction, promotion, and community engagement. Revenue comes from Shopee, TikTok Shop, bazaars, consignment, affiliate income, and WhatsApp sales. Internally, Neula relies on its production team, marketing team, fashion designer, admin or QC team, production tools, suppliers, and partners such as vendors, logistic providers, KOLs, bazaars, and consignment partners. Overall, the existing BMC shows that Neula already has a structured business model, but several elements still need improvement. The external analysis show that Neula operates in a highly competitive digital fashion environment. From PESEL, the most influential factors are economic, social, technological, and legal factors. Economic pressures affect how material prices, purchasing power, logistic costs, and margins. Social factors are important because fashion trends and customer preferences change quickly. Technology supports reach and efficiency through marketplaces, social media, and live commerce, ads, and tracking tools. Legal factors relate to marketing policies, platform fees, taxes, and shipping regulation. Porter's Five Forces show high pressure across all 5 forces: rivalry, new entrants, substitutes, buyer power, and supply power. This means Neula needs stronger differentiation, better customer engagement, channel diversification, and supply risk management. SWOT analysis was conducted for each of the 9 BMC elements, not only at a general company level. The key strengths are Neula's clear Gen Z segment, strong basic with a twist identity, original design, digital channels, and active customer interaction. The key weaknesses are marketplace dependency, supply-related product similarity, limited community management, production capacity issues, and creative team turnover. The main opportunities including national and international expansion, independent channels, KOL collaboration, loyalty program, and digital tracking system. Meanwhile, the main threats include competition, price pressure, product imitation, customer switching, platform changes, and rising costs. These findings become the basis for the TOWS matrix. This slide presents the compiled TOWS matrix. Since the matrix contains many strategies, I will focus on the main result. The TOWS matrix generated 30 alternative strategies consisting of 9 SO, 7 WO, 9 ST, and 5 WT strategies. SO strategies use strength to capture opportunities, WO strategies use opportunities to overcome weaknesses, ST strategies use strength to reduce threats, and WT strategies minimize weaknesses while avoiding threats. Overall, these strategies cover market expansion, design differentiation, channel development, customer engagement, revenue improvement, HR and operational system, supplier management, and cost control. After the 30 strategies were generated, similar strategies were grouped and rephrased into 18 renewed strategies. These strategies were classified into short-term, mid-term, and long-term priorities. The short-term strategies focus on quick improvements such as brand identity, content, customer interaction, margin control, and creative HR. The mid-term strategies focus on broader development, including market expansion, collection development, community and loyalty program, and pre-orders. The long-term strategies focus on developing independent channels, including a website, offline store, and cross-border sales channel to reduce marketplace dependency. This slide presents the new business model canvas of Neula. The existing BMC remains visible, while the added strategies are marked based on implementation priority. The new BMC strengthens customer segments by expanding toward national and international market. It strengthens the value proposition by highlighting original patterns, brand identity, distinctive materials, design details, and finishing. It also improves channels through value-based content and long-term development of website, offline store, and cross-border channels. Customer relationships are strengthened through routine interaction formats, the Guerrilla community, and loyalty program. For internal development, the new BMC adds margin control, pre-order, limited drops, KOL collaboration, creative HR improvement, SOPs training, tracking system, campaign calendar, integrated production timelines, backup supplier, and cost control mechanism. Overall, the new BMC becomes Neula's strategic roadmap for strengthening competitiveness. In conclusion, the study formulated business strategies for Neula using an integrated BMC, PESEL, Porter's Five Forces, SWOT, and TOWS matrix approach. The existing BMC shows that Neula has implemented all 9 business model blocks. The external analysis showed that Neula operates in a highly competitive digital fashion environment. SWOT analysis based on the 9 BMC block became the foundation for TOWS strategy formulation. The TOWS matrix generated 30 strategies, which were consolidated into 18 renewed strategies and integrated into the new BMC. Overall, the new BMC helps strengthen Neula's competitive positioning through value proposition, channels, customer engagement, internal system, partnership, revenue mechanism, and platform dependency reduction. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I welcome any question or suggestion.
Thank you for the insightful presentation, Adeline. I have a question regarding the strategic recommendation. Since Neola already has a strong brand identity and is actively utilizing various digital channels, what is the rationale behind recommending additional independent channels such as a dedicated website, physical offline stores, and cross-border sales channels? How do these channels provide incremental value beyond the existing digital ecosystem, and what specific gaps are they intended to address? Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad, for the question. The recommendation to develop independent channels doesn't mean that Neula should immediately replace Shopee or TikTok Shop or the channels above. These platforms are still important because they support Neula's current sales, visibility, and access to Gen Z consumers. However, the study shows that Neula operates in a highly competitive digital fashion environment. For those five forces indicates high rivalry, high buyer power, high threats of substitutes, and high threats of new entrants. This means customer can easily compare products and switch to other brands. At the same time, relying heavily on marketplaces create risk related to platform algorithms, policies, fees, and visibility. Therefore, independent channels are recommended as a long-term strategy. The goal is to reduce marketplace dependency and give Nula more control over customer relationship, brand experience, and future market expansion. For example, a website can support a more controlled brand environment. An offline store can strengthen customer experience, and cross-border channels can support future expansion. But all of this should be done gradually after Nula strengthen short and midterm foundation such as content consistency, customer engagement, SOPs, production planning, and supplier backup. So the main idea is not to add channels immediately, but to build channel resilience over time while still benefiting from existing marketplaces. Thank you.
Thank you for the explanation. It was very clear and insightful.
Okay, just one question from my side. That is how you are going to take care about the security aspects. Like you have your customer data and your business data also there. With business strategies are also there. So definitely you won't want that to be visible to your competitors in the market. So how you are going to take care of that? Have you thought anything particularly? Do you have any such implementation there?
Since I'm not in the part of Neula, I'm not in charge of the plan, yeah, I guess. So I only do research based on the data they give to me. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question.
We deeply appreciate the rigor and relevance of your study, Miss Adeline. My question is, how frequently should the proposed business model be revisited and updated? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
My question is, how frequently should the proposed business model be revisited and updated?
Oh, maybe for the frequently, it will be better for every quarter of the year. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Adeline.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. The next presenter I would like to call is Ricky for the paper title Comparative Analysis of Machine Learning Models for Customer Churn Prediction.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you may start your screen.
Good afternoon, distinguished chair, reviewer, and participant. Today, I will present our research entitled Comparative Analysis of Machine Learning Model for Customer Trust Prediction. This study evaluated three machine learning algorithms for identifying customers who are like to discontinue telecommunication service. Our primary focus is not merely prediction accuracy, but the ability to correctly identify customer at risk of churn. Before discussing the machine learning model, it is important to understand why customer churn has become a critical issue in the telecommunication industry. Customer churn occur when customer decide to stop using a company service and switch to a competitor. In highly competitive telecommunication market, customer switching behavior happen frequency because customer can easily compare price, service, quality, and promotion offer. A recent industry report indicated that the annual churn rate in telecommunication can reach approximately 30 to 35%. This means that nearly one third of customers may leave the service provider within a year if no effective retention strategy is implemented. The impact of churn extends beyond losing customer. Every customer who leaves represents a direct loss of recurring revenue. At the same time, companies must invest additional resources to acquire replacement customer. Research has shown the acquiring a new customer can cost between 5 and 25 times more than retaining an exciting one. As a result, organization face increasing acquisition costs while simultaneously expressing declined profitability. Uh, this challenge creates three major business consequences: revenue loss, reduced profitability, and marketing inefficiency. Companies often spend substantial marketing budget replacing loss customer rather than strengthening relationship with existing ones. Uh, the framework on the right illustrates this business problem. Telecommunication service experience customer churn, which lead to revenue loss. To mitigate this issue, company require any early detection mechanism capability of identifying customer who likely to leave before churn actually occur. Uh, So this need has motivated the adoption of machine learning technique by analyzing customer behavior pattern. Machine learning model can provide early warning signal and support proactive customer retention strategies. Uh, Next, previous study have report complete research regarding the best machine learning model for customer trust prediction. Some study recommended logistic regression, other papers support vector machine, while super suggest decision tree. Uh, in addition, most study focus primarily on accuracy as the main evaluation metric. However, choice datasets are often imbalanced, making accuracy alone insufficient for evaluating model effectiveness. As a result, there is a need for a recall-oriented comparison that focus on correctly identifying churner and minimizing false negative. This research addressed that gap by comparing logistic regression, linear SPM, and decision tree using the Iranian choice dataset. And then, after identifying the research gap, the next step is to define the objective of the study and explain the contribution it provides. The primary objective of this research is to compare the performance of three widely used machine learning algorithms for customer trust prediction, logistic regression, linear support vector machine, and decision tree. This model were selected because they represent different classification approaches that are among the most frequently applied technique in churn prediction studies. And then, however, unlike many previous studies that prioritize overall accuracy, the research focus on recall as the primary evaluation metric. Recall is particularly important in churn prediction because it measures the model ability to correctly identify customers who are actually at risk of leaving. In practical business environment, failing to detect a churn can result in lost revenue and missed retention opportunities. Therefore, minimizing false negative become a critical objective. So the framework on the right illustrates the logical flow on this study. We began by comparing multiple machine learning models, and then next we evaluate their ability to identify churn through critical analysis, and then finally we determine which model minimize false negative most effectively. The study provides three major contributions. The first, from an academic perspective, is contributed recall-oriented evaluation framework that complement traditional accuracy-based assessment. Second, from a practical perspective, it provides insight that can help organizations design more effective customer retention strategies. And then the last, from a methodology perspective, it introduces a deeper analysis of false negatives, which are often overlooked in previous prediction study. Through this contribution, this research aims to provide a more business-oriented perspective for evaluating machine learning model to customer and churn prediction. On dataset overview, this research utilities in Iranian choice dataset obtained from the UCI machine learning repository. The dataset was selected because it represented a real-world telecommunications customer churn problem and has received relatively limited attention compared with other benchmark churn dataset. So on the side, the dataset contains 3.151 customer record and 40 predictive feature. One advantage of this dataset is that contain no missing value, which simplifies the pre-processing step and reduce the risk of information loss during data cleaning. The target variable is customer churn, which identifies whether a customer remain with the service provider or leave the service, because the target variable contain only two possible outcome, churn and non-churn. The problem is formulated as a binary classification text. The 14 feature represent different aspects of customer behavior, demographic, service usage pattern. Example include call pairs, customer complaint, subscription length, frequency of service usage, SMS frequency, customer value, age group, and billing related information. And then the variable, this variable provide useful information for understanding customer behavior and identifying pattern associated with churn. The framework of on the right summarize the dataset structure. We began with 3.151 customer record described by 14 feature here, and use this attribute to perform binary classification from churn prediction. The dataset provide a sustainable foundation for evaluate machine learning algorithm because it contain sufficient customer behavior information while maintaining manageable level of complexity and model comparison. Before training the machine learning model, it is essential to pre-process the dataset to ensure that the experimental results are reliable, unbiased, and reproducible. The pre-processing workflow used in this study consists of 5 main steps as illustrated in the framework on the right side of the slide. Yeah. The first step is raw data loading. While the Iranian choice dataset was imported into the Pandas data frame, allowing efficiency in data manipulation and analysis. And then the second step is feature extraction and data structuring. In this step, the target variable, which is churn, was spread from the predictor variable. The input attribute were assigned to the feature metric X, where the change status was assigned to the target variable y. So this separation is important because it ensures that the machine learning model learn only from the customer-related attribute and not from the actual outcome. And then the third step in the trend test split, the dataset was divided into training data testing subset using 80 and 20 ratio. 80% of the data were used to train the model, while the remaining 20% were reserved for performance evaluation.
Excuse me, sir. This is just a gentle reminder that the presentation time is up. You may conclude your presentation in a minute.
Okay. Mungkin the next. Okay. So the future research can extend the study in several direction. The first, advanced assembled algorithms such as random forest, XGBoost, and GBM can be applied to improve predictive performance. Second, SMOT can be applied to address class imbalance and potential improve recall. And then the third step, an experimental RE technique can be used to improve model interpretability and identify the most important transfactor. And this assessment was increased model robustness, predictive accuracy, and practical business value. So, summary in this study compare logistic regression, linear SPM, decision tree, and customer trust prediction. The results show that decision tree achieved the highest recall of 0.091, the lowest false negative one of 43, and the highest accuracy of 90%. This finding indicate that decision tree is the most effective model for identifying customer and just supporting customer retention strategy. And then thank you for attention and welcome any question.
Thank you for sharing your extensive research with us, Ricky. My question is, beyond the predictive performance, how can telecommunication firms translate these churn predictions into actionable customer retention strategies? Thank you.
Is the presenting author there?
Yes, he is in the meeting.
I guess he's having some network issues.
And we may proceed with the next author.
Yeah. April, ma'am, I think we should proceed with the next presentation.
Yes, Miss. Yes, Dr. Janelle.
Okay. Thanks.
The next presenter, Than Huang, for the paper title Partner Country Trade Digitalization and National Export Competitiveness Evidence from an Extended Gravity Model.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining my presentation today. And my paper is the partner country trade digitalizations and national export competitiveness. And the main focus of our study is to examine whether the digitalization of trade procedure in Vietnam and in its importing partners will boost the export performance. And so for the Vietnam, we are a highly export-oriented economy, and it become increasingly integrated into the global value chains. And our export structure has shifted from only mainly in labor-intensive products. Now we move into work, electronic machinery, smartphone, and also another intermediate inputs. And In our context, in our studies, export competitiveness is no longer determined only by production cost at the input and the supply capacity, but we also looking for how the efficiency of good can enter the destination market. And for procedure delay, mostly for document and for the customer and relating to certificate of origin, sanitary and phytosanitary documents, .IPS, and data exchange requirement when we created the significant trade frictions. And therefore, the digital red lines of the importing partners become important for external conditions without affecting our market access for Vietnamese exporters. And for the relating existing study will have examined the trade facilitation, e-commerce as the adaptations, digital trade, and however, most of this study only focus on global or regional effects. Less attention has been paid to the role of partner country institutional, and also our study also addressed the gap by asking the two main questions. First of all, is how the partner country trade digitalizations can associate with Vietnamese bilateral export value. And also, we looking for the second question is with the trade digitalization relating to paperless, cross-border paperless trade, and innovation capacity and conventional gravity variable. How can it explain the export variations across Vietnamese destination market? And in our paper, we mostly grounded on the gravity model trade, but we extended it to some other factors relating to the trade digitalizations. And in this study, the trade digitalization, we use it as an institutional trade code variable, and it may reduce documentary compliance cost, processing delay, uncertainty, and information frictions. And we develop, based on our model, we develop three main hypotheses. First of all, we propose that the partner country paperless trade implementation will positively associate with Vietnamese bilateral export. The second hypothesis relating to the partner country cross-border paperless trade, and we expect that it give positive effect on the Vietnam bilateral exports. And the third hypothesis, we propose that the aggregate trade digitalization index of importing partners of our country will positively associate with our bilateral export. So for the data, we deal the data set of panel data set of 27 major trading partners for the period between 2013 to 2022. And based on that, we have a balanced panel data of 270 observations. And with the key explanatory variable, we use three variables, that is the paperless trade index, and the cross-border paperless trade index, and the aggregate trade digitalization index that we make it in initial, that is PTI, CBPTI, and TDI. And the other control variable, we use the user variable of the gravity model. And we also including a dummy variable for the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, for the time of the pandemic happened during 2020 to 2022. And for the methods, so because we use a panel data, so we mostly based on the two fixed effect and random effect specifications. And after use the Hausman test, we decided to take the random effects estimate because it's more efficient and consistent for our data. And also for the specification, we also use robust standard error and cluster. And our main results, we see that the coefficient of PTI is positive and significant at our hypothesis. And the second one, the CBPTI, also the same, at the positive and statistically significant impact on the export volume. And the third one, TDI, we also see a positive and significant. And three main results are confirming that the overall digitalization of trade procedure in importing market will associate with Vietnam export performance. And other conventional gravity variable also have a behave as expected, relating to GDP, the distance, and geographical distance, and also the only insignificant variable is COVID-19 damage. And based on our result, we have some discussion and policy implication. So we make the discussion and policy implication for separated for exporter, for government, for policymaker. That we see in that when we make export promotion, we should not only focus on market size and tariff, but we also can have to consider the digital trade readiness of the destination markets. And also we have to strengthen our cross-border interoperability through mechanisms such as ASEAN single window, that we can adapt the procedure of paper across countries. And our study, however, we still remain some of limitations. First of all, because we only use the aggregate export data, so we cannot identify the sector-specific effect. So in the future research, if we can have the data relating to the specific sector with the hashtag code of 6 digit or 4 digits, so we can assign the different road sector, such as agriculture, electronic, machine, and other sector. Also, we cannot directly test the interaction between Vietnam domestic digital capacity and partner country digital readiness because of limitation of data. And also because we only use usual phase effect and random effect, so we cannot account for the potential endogeneity between explained variable and dependent variable. So that's it's just all of my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention. And I look forward for your question and comment.
We sincerely acknowledge the significant effort the team has invested in this research, Tan. Based on your findings, what specific policy intervention should Vietnam prioritize to maximize the benefits of the digital trade ecosystems, and why? Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. And we for Vietnam, so we are thinking of we have to be strengthen the cross-border mechanism so that the and also we have to upgrade the electronic certificates and mutually recognition of electronic trade documents and custom data exchange. Because when based on our research, we see in that when we increasing the using of paperless, so we can improve our export volume and we can reduce the cost, the trade cost between countries.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. I would like to call the next presenter, Muhammad Eporenu, for the paper titled Strategic Prioritization for Student Accommodation Survey Services using IFE, EFE, SWOT, IE Matrix, and QSPM. So do we have you?
Good afternoon, distinguished conference chairs, reviewers, presenters, and fellow participants. Thank you for the opportunity to present our research today. My name is Muhammad Baswara Iporanul from Telkom University, Bandung, Indonesia. Today, I will present our paper entitled Strategic Prioritization for Student Accommodation Survey Services using IFE, EFE, SWOT, IE Matrix, and QSPM. This research was conducted together with my co-author Siska Novia Ristanti. In this presentation, I will discuss how strategic management tools can help prioritize business strategies for cost-based survey cost incaran, a field-verified student accommodation survey service. Before going into the details, let me briefly outline the structure of this presentation. I will begin with the introduction and research gap, then I will move to the literature review and methodology. After that, I will present the main analysis and results, including IFE, EFE, IA matrix, SWOT or tools, and KSPN. Finally, I will close with the discussion conclusion and strategic implication. Let me begin with the main problem behind this study. In the digital era, students can easily search for accommodation online through platform, social media, group chats, or peer recommendation. But the real question is not only can I find place to stay, the deeper question is can I trust the information? This issue becomes more critical for students who come from the outside of the city. They often need decide based on online information, even though they may not able to directly check the room, facility, price, access, rules, safety, and surrounding environment. Therefore, the decision process should not be only search and decide. It should be search, verify, and then decide with confidence. The key message is that digital access alone is not enough. Trust must be supported by field verified and reliable information. To address this issue of trust, the study focused on survey cost incaran by COSPACE. Survey cost incaran is a field verified student accommodation survey service operating around Telkom University. The service combines student preferences with direct field verification. The process begins with student preference such as location, budget, room type, facilities, and roles. Then, the COSPACE team conducts a field survey to verify room condition, price, access, utilities, and the surrounding environment. After that, the information is compiled into a survey deck, which provides verified documentation and comparable information for students. So, the purpose is not only to help students find accommodation, but to help them make housing decisions with greater confidence. Now that we understand how the service works, the question is, what strategic problem needs to be solved? For CoSpace, the main issue is operational reliability. When field verification becomes the foundation of trust, service reliability is no longer just an operational matter. It becomes a strategic issue. Based on CoSpace operational data from July to September 2024, Survey Cost in Charan recorded 1,600 surveys orders. However, only 64% were completed on time and SOP compliant, while 36% were delayed or not achieved. The trend also declined from 66.67% in July to 60% in September. This decline can increase student waiting time, reduce confidence in the information, and weaken the value of field verification itself. Therefore, this research aims to formulate and prioritize cost-based business strategies using IFE, EFE, IE metrics, SWOT, ORTOS, and KSPM. Now, why does this study matters academically? The strategic tools are not new, but the context is. SWOT and KSPM have been widely used in many business studies, including business development, MSME marketing, digital payment innovation, and creative industry competitiveness. However, student accommodation is a different service context. It is not only about showing a listing or selling a room. It is about helping students make an important decision based on information they can trust. In this context, trust depends on surveyor readiness, SOP consistency, real-time monitoring, and on-time survey delivery. The study addressed that gap by applying IFE, EFE, IE metrics, SWOT, ORTOS, and KSPM to a field-verified student accommodation service where operational reliability becomes part of the strategic value. To build the analysis, the study used the strategic management framework from David 2017. This framework explains strategy as a structured process, not just an intuitive decision. Strategy should be formulated by understanding internal capabilities, analyzing external conditions, developing measurable action, and connecting them to sustainable performance. This is relevant to student accommodation service because strategic value does not only depend on digital access or listing availability. It also depends on service quality, information reliability, operational consistency, and user trust. Based on logic, IFE and AFE identify strategic factors. The IA matrix maps strategic position, SWOT or TOS generates alternative. Finally, KSPM ranks and prioritizes the most attractive strategy. So, the strategic priority in this study is developed through a structured strategic management process. After explaining the theoretical foundation, I will now move to the research method and analytical framework. The study applies a descriptive qualitative method with a case study approach because the research focuses on one specific service context, survey cost in Charan by Cospes. The purpose is to identify strategic factors, formulate alternative strategies, and determine the most relevant priority strategy. The analytical process follows three stages. First, the input stage use IFE and AFE to identify internal and external factors. Second, the matching stage use IA matrix and SWOT or tools to map position and generate alternative. Third, the decision stage use QSPM to select the most attractive strategy. So these frameworks transform qualitative finding into a structured strategic decision. For the data collection, the study used both primary and secondary data. Primary data were collected through semi-structured interviews, limited observation of survey cost in Charan, and strategic discussion. Secondary data come from internal documents, operational records, and relevant literature. The informants were divided into two groups. Internally, the study involved cost-based CO, CCO, CPCO, and head of ADMD. Externally, it involved a boarding house owner, a student co-seeker, and strategic management expert. The informants were selected using purposive sampling because each had a specific role and relevance to the research topic. To strengthen credibility, the study used triangulation across interviews, observation, and internal documents. The QSPM attractiveness scores were also confirmed through in-depth discussion with internal cost-based stakeholders. After collecting and validating the data, the first question was, where does COSPACE actually stand internally and externally? Based on IFA matrix, COSPACE obtained a total score 2.300. This indicates a medium internal position, but still slightly below the ideal midpoint of 2.5. This means CoSpace is not starting from zero. It already has several strengths, such as role division, available service channel, and strong value proposition through direct field surveys. However, the same metrics also show major operational weaknesses. These include limited surveyor capacity during peak demand, ineffective scheduling, non-real-time monitoring, admin checking, bottlenecks, and inconsistently surveyed quality. On the external side, the EFE score is 2.10, indicating medium to high that market still offers strong verified accommodation information. So the story behind these two numbers is clear. The opportunity is there, but CoSpace must first strengthen its internal reliability to capture it effectively. Uh, After identifying the internal and external condition, the next step is the matching stage. The purpose here is to connect what CoSpace has internally with a CoSpace face externally, and then translate that into strategic direction based on the IA matrix with an IFE score of 2.300 and EFE score of 2.510. CoSpace is positioned in cell 5, which means hold and maintain. This is important because it suggests that CoSpace should not immediately focus on aggressive expansion. Instead, the strategy should focus on maintaining the existing service while improving quality, reliability, and competitive position. The recommended direction are market penetration and product development. For CoSpace, this means strengthening its current market position while improving verification, scheduling, monitoring, and survey output quality. From this position, the SWOT or TOS matrix generate 17 alternatives. SO 5SO, 4WO, 4ST, and 4WT. After the matching stage, CoSpace had several possibilities strategic direction, but in strategy, the challenge is not only to create alternative. The real challenge is to choose what should come first. This is why the study used KSPN. The results show that WO2 became the first priority, with the highest STIS score of 5.450. These strategies focus on digitalizing real-time service monitoring and scheduling. This finding tells an important story. CoSpace does not only need to be known as a trusted survey service, it first needs to make sure that trust can be delivered consistently through its operation. WO2 directly addressed the operational issue found earlier, like scheduling inefficiency, monitoring delays, and service bottlenecks. With a real-time monitoring and scheduling, CoSpace can detect delays earlier, manage surveyor allocation better, and reduce the risk of late survey date delivery. The second priority is WO3, with a score of 5.263, which supports survey date quality standardization. The third priority is SO1 with a score 4.513, which strengthens uh, trust, trusted verified service positioning. So the main message is simple. Before CoSpace strengthens its market communication, it must first strengthen the system behind the service. In a, in a trust-based service, reliability is not just an operational issue. Reliability is the strategy. We have now reached the final part of the study. So let me summarize the main discussion and conclusion. The findings show that cost-based main strategic issue is not simply how to become more visible in market. The deeper issue is how to its field verification process more reliable. This matters because the value of survey cost in Charan depends on direct surveys, structured documentation, preference-based recommendation, and on-time delivery, service delivery. If these elements are not consistent, then the trust promised to user becomes difficult to maintain. Based on the IE matrix, cost base is positioned in self 5 or hold and maintain. This means that internal service strengthening should come before broader market expansion. This is also reflected in the QSPM results. WO2 becomes the top strategic priority because it can help prospects detect delays earlier, allocate surveyors more effectively, manage order queues, and reduce admin bottlenecks. WO3 supports this by improving survey data standardization, while SO1 remains important for strengthening trusted verified service positioning. And overall, the study showed that IFE, EFE, IE metrics, SWOT orthos, and KSPM can transform operational problem into clear strategic priorities. So the final message is this. For a field verified student accommodation service, trust is not built only by marketing communication. Trust is built by reliability operation. This brings me to end of my presentation. To briefly conclude, this study highlight that field verified student accommodation service operational reliability plays a central role in building trust and supporting strategic competitiveness. I would like to sincerely thank for the distinguished conference reviewers, presenters, and fellow participants for your kind attention. I would also like to express my gratitude to TIBS Philippines 2026 and my co-author and everyone who support this research. Thank you very much. I will please to receive any question, comments, or suggestion.
Thank you for sharing important insights, Muhammad. My question is, how scalable is the proposed strategy beyond the telecom university environment to other university ecosystems in Indonesia? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have a bad connection. Please repeat. Sorry.
Yes. Muhammad, my question is, how scalable is the proposed strategy beyond the telecom university environment to other university ecosystems in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you for the question. The proposed strategy is scalable but not automatically replicable without local adaptation. In this research, the strategy was developed based on the Telkom University student accommodation ecosystem, where the demand is highly concentrated around campus. Student needs verified boarding house information and operational speed is very important. These characteristics are not unique to Telkom University. Many university areas in Indonesia also face similar problems. Fragmented accommodation information, reliance on social media or informal recommendation, limited trust in online listing, and high seasonal demand during new student admission periods. However, the scalability depends on the three main conditions. First, the new university ecosystem must have a strong concentration of student accommodation on campus. Second, the operational system must be standardized. That is why the priority strategy in this study is not only market positioning, but also real-time monitoring, scheduling, and survey data standardization. Third, local partnerships are important. Each university area has different owner behavior, price sensitivity, student preference, and informal housing networks. Therefore, space will need to adapt its owner acquisition, survey recruitment, and communication approach to local context. So the strategy is scalable in principle because the core problem exists in main Indonesian university ecosystem, but the expansion should be done gradually, starting from campus with similar characteristics to Telkom University, while using the standard side operational system as the foundation for replication.
Thank you, Mohabbat, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. I would like to call the next presenter, Shri Abdin Gnagro, for the paper title Sustainability Meets Hype Culture, an SBOT-based analysis of emotional and rational consumer processing in Nike Space Hippie Discourse.
Okay, thank you. I want to
Yes.
share
Yeah, you may
my.
share your screen.
Wait a minute. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
And okay, thank you. My sound is very, very well, yes? Okay. Okay. This is my presentation is the title is uh, sustainability meets hype culture, an expert-based analysis of emotional and rational consumer processing in Nike Space Hippie Discourse. I work with my colleague Pangganti, Mr. Pangganti. We both working about this research. Yes, we know that sustainability has become an important innovation strategy in fashion footwear. We choose Nike Space Hippie because this product is combined by recycled materials and sustainability, of course, and hype culture, pop culture, and futuristic aesthetic and sneaker identity. I think this is um, uh, popular in the Gen Z, maybe, yeah. And the problem is audience response towards sustainable hype sneakers are often more complex than a simple positive negative sentiment. This is not only two positive and negative sentiment. We need more deeply research about this. And mostly in previous use NLP studies is focused in polarity sentiments only. Yeah, use positive, negative approach, and rarely integrate persuasion theory with semantic NLP. Yeah, gap in previous study is limited studies combined in LM, expert sustainability scores, and sneaker culture, pop culture. Yeah. This is our research objective. Yeah, the study aims to identify is I think first is more deeply understanding about not only positive and negative. Yeah, we need to know about the emotional processing, rational processing, or hybrid between cognitive and affective processing. Yeah, and within YouTube, yeah, YouTube discourse related to Nike Space Hippie using ALM framework and expert based semantic analysis. This is our tools. This is only the theoretical framework. Yeah, we know that emotional processing, yeah, about aesthetic, hype, excitement, symbolic sneaker identity, or in rational processing like sustainability, recycled materials, environmental value, and innovation, or hybrid processing, yeah, emotional and rational, coexistence between emotional and rational evaluation. This is data source that we get is from the YouTube comment related to Nike Space Hippie. And data collection is YouTube data EPI V3, Python scoping on Google Colabs, yeah, and NLP approach. We use SBOT, Mini LM L6, V2, and we need a semantic similarity, cosine similarity, and prototype-based classification. The category is only in our aim research is emotional, rational, or hybrid, or ambiguous. This is my the research process. I think from the expert, I bring and label robustness check, and the final is interpretation about NLM. This is taxonomy tables, category that is emotional, like excitement, hype, aesthetic, like this. Maybe in expression like desire, yeah. And rational, like sustainability, evolution, like expression example that is the recycle materials, reduce waste. I think this more rational, yeah. And hybrid sustainability aesthetic, like stylish and environmental friendly. Yeah, this is ambiguous and category like this. Yeah, this is my robustness, our robustness text. Yeah, the result is consistent and stable. Emotional processing. This is yeah. So the finding like this. Yeah, from our analyze from data, the YouTube. This is our main findings. Yeah. Audience respond were strongly influenced by aesthetic, hype culture, and future design. Yeah, this is expert result. Yeah, emotional is dominant. Is about 831. If you see the data, yeah, and then emotional the first, and then hybrid processing second, ambiguous so two, yeah. This is our video ID. We choose five YouTube, and also is this comment, yeah, all comment. I think this like that. If you see from the five YouTube, emotional is have a highly percentage uh, if you see in rational, hybrid, and ambiguous, yeah. So in emotional is mostly in our data. That's example before. And this is the discussion. So in the seekers, in the popular or pop culture, yeah, sneakers often process as symbolic produce, identity objects, and the hedonic consumption. Yeah. Key insight: sustainability in hype sneaker is not processed purely rationally. Yeah. Sustainability is only embedded. Yeah. The most our result is symbolic. Yeah, emotional, most emotional. So instead, environmental value become embedded within aesthetic, hype culture, and symbolic consumption. That is our result. So our research contribution is we extended, yeah, for theoretical concept, we extended ALM within semantics and LP based discourse analysis. Methodological contribution, of course, because we added expert, demonstrated expert capability beyond polarity sentiment classification, not only positive or negative. And the practical contribution is, of course, yeah, main research is about sustainability communication. So sustainability communication become more effective when combined with aesthetic, hype culture, and symbolic identity. Because this is for like emotional sentence. Yeah. So emotional processing, our conclusion is emotional processing become the dominance to an audience respond orientation. Hybrid processing emerged significant within snacker discourse. Sustainability discourse within hype snacker involve coexistence between emotional and rational evaluation. So final, our research is final insight that sustainability communication is modern snacker culture operate not only through environmental value, but also through symbolic and emotional engagement. So I think for the product in pop culture like that, like Snickers, emotional uh, processing is more important. Yeah. So more important between important compared to sustainability. Sustainability is good, but the first is our endorse is emotional processing. So maybe our in practical implication that if we communicate that our product is sustainable, yeah, but the product is in pop culture like sneakers. So the first thing that we have to communicate is about emotional and sustainability. Sustainable product is embedded in that. I think this is my our conclusion and practical contribution. Yeah. Thank you very much, and I waiting for look forward for your question and discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was really a nice presentation. I saw you have done many analysis, like robust analysis, and many things you have done. I just want to want to ask one question here. That is, what do you feel like you are going to face as the main challenge in if you implement it in real time?
Yes. Our result is you touch the customer in with the emotional, and then sustainable product and like that is behind the emotional touch. So
Okay.
many ad maybe and promotion. You must touch the emotional processing first to the customers, like that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Shri. We appreciate the rigor and relevance of your study. My question is, could this SBIRT-based framework be generalized to other sustainability-focused consumer products? And what adaptations do you think would be necessary? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I think yes, our limitation maybe in not all product, yeah, because this the characteristic is the pop culture. I think the if we move to the more characteristic product, maybe we have to research again. Yeah, we know that it is rational or emotional, but in the pop culture, likely is emotional. I don't know if the product, if electric vehicle, I think maybe consumer think more uh, rational. I think that it. Thank you, thank you,
Thank you
thank
and
you for the question.
congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. The next presenter I would like to call Zahra Ahelia for the paper title Technology Accepted Models in Augmented Reality.
Aku difotoin tadi buat laporan data.
Yeah. Measuring effectiveness and acceptance. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. I would like to share my screen with you.
Yes, your screen is visible. You may start.
All right. Good afternoon, respected judges, distinguished academics, and all participants. It is my great pleasure, Zani Zahra Ailia, as one of the delegates from Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Indonesia, to present our research entitled Technology Accepted Models in Augmented Reality, Measuring Effectiveness and Acceptance. Before I begin, I would like to invite you to imagine a classroom where students are no longer only looking at pictures on a screen or reading description from textbooks, but they can directly interact with virtual objects, explore concepts in 3D, and experience learning in a more immersive way. That is the potential offered by augmented reality. Today, technology is continuously transforming the way education is delivered. However, the success of technology implementation does not only depend on the availability of the technology itself, but also on whether users are willing to accept and integrate it into their learning environment. Therefore, this study focuses not only on the effectiveness of AR, but also on how lecturers perceive, accept, and eventually use this technology in higher education. This research was conducted by researchers from several Indonesian state universities, including Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Universitas Negeri Makassar, and Universitas Negeri Surabaya. Now let's move on to the background of this study. Augmented reality has become one of the fastest growing technologies in education because it provides unique learning experiences through three main characteristics, which is visualization, interaction, and connection between real and virtual environments. In higher education, AR has significant potential because many learning materials involve abstract concepts that are difficult to explain only through conventional methods. However, adopting AR is not always simple. Lecturers may face challenges such as limited infrastructure, different levels of technological readiness, and uncertainty about how AR aligns with existing curricula. Therefore, this research has four main objectives. First is to measure AR effectiveness among office administration lecturers. Second, to examine AR acceptance using the technology acceptance model framework. And third, to analyze the real relationship between key TEM variables. And finally, to provide strategic recommendation for universities in implementing AR-based learning. In short, this study aims to answer one important question, which is how can universities successfully transform AR from an emerging technology into a meaningful learning tool? To understand it better, the study uses the technology acceptance model introduced by Fred Davis that explains technology adaptation is influenced by how users perceive the technology. The first factor is perceived ease of use, which refers to whether users believe the technology is easy to operate. The second factor is perceived usefulness, meaning whether users believe the technology can improve their performance or learning outcomes. And these two perceptions influence the next stage, which is attitude toward use, that represents the user's positive or negative attitude toward adopting the technology. And a positive attitude then influences behavioral intention to use, which refers to the willingness or intention of lecturers to use AR. And finally, that intention leads to actual behavior, which represents the real implementation or actual usage of AR in the learning process. This factor influence users' attitudes toward technology, their intention, and finally their actual usage behavior. This model becomes highly relevant because AR provides several learning advantage, like First, AR enables 3D visualization that allows students to understand abstract concepts through realistic representation. And second, AR creates connection between real and virtual environments, making learning more contextual. Third, AR provides interactive, where students can rotate, zoom, and self-explore. And these characteristics suggest that AR has the potential to improve cognitive engagement and learning motivation. However, the important question still remains, do these advantages actually influence lecturers' acceptance and willingness to use AR in real educational settings? That question becomes the foundation of our research. Now, let's move to the methodology of the study. We use a mixed method approach, combining quantitative and qualitative methods. For the quantitative approach, data were collected through surveys and analyzed using PLS-SEM. And this method was selected because the study aims to examine the relationship between several constructs within the technology acceptance model. And in addition, the qualitative analysis, we use interviews were conducted to provide deeper understanding regarding the challenges faced by lecturers, especially related to infrastructure readiness, technological skills, and the implementation of AR in the learning process. And through this approach, the study does not only measure statistical relationship, but also provides practical insights into how AR adaptation can be strengthened in higher education. Now, we have the respondent profile here. There is a total of 48 lecturers participated in this research, and it came from 3 different state universities with representation from Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Universitas Negeri Surabaya, and Universitas Negeri Makassar. 56% of the respondents were male lecturers, 44% were female lecturers, 56% of them were aged 31 to 40 years old, and 59% has 1 to 5 years teaching experience, which this diversity provides a broader perspective regarding AR acceptance among lecturers with different levels of experience and backgrounds. And during the study and research, participants interacted with marker-based AR application where physical markers were used to activate digital 3D content through mobile devices. Now, before we analyze the relationship between variables, the study first evaluated the reliability and validity of the measurement model, and it shows that all constructs in the model are achieved acceptable reliability and validity levels. Like the Cronbach's alpha values for all variables exceeded the recommended threshold, indicating strong internal consistency, and the composite reliability values also showed that the measurement instruments were reliable, and furthermore, the average variance extracted values were above the minimum requirement, confirming that the indicators successfully represented each construct. In other words, the measurement tools we use in this research were reliable enough to evaluate AR acceptance among lecturers. Now we move to the effectiveness of AR in the learning process. The finding shows that AR provides several educational benefits. First, AR supports 3D concept visualization. With AR, students can visualize this concept more realistically and understand them more easily. Second, AR increases student motivation and engagement. Instead of becoming passive receivers of information, they actively interact with learning materials by exploring, rotating, and examining virtual objects. And third, AR improves practice efficiency that allows students to experience simulations without requiring additional physical facilities or resources. And therefore, AR does not simply add technology into classroom, but it creates a more interactive and student-centered learning environment. Now, based on the findings, this study identifies 3 courses with the highest potential for AR integration. The first is office management.
AR can be applied to visualize business processes, organizational structures, and document workflows. The second is archives management. AR can support learning about archive classification, digital storage, and data security by allowing students to explore virtual archive system. The third is computer applications and office technology. AR can be used to demonstrate software tutorials, office equipment, and information technology infrastructure. However, we should underline that AR should be considered as a supporting tool rather than replacing all conventional learning methods. Based on our findings, there are several strategic implications that can support AR implementation in higher education. The first step is pedagogical priority. Universities should focus on demonstrating AR's educational benefits because lecturers value its impact on learning outcomes more than only its technical features. And second, AR content repository. Institutions should develop curriculum-aligned AR materials to help lecturers integrate AR into their courses effectively. And third, faculty workshops. Training programs should not only teach the technical use of AR, but also how to apply it as a meaningful learning strategy. The fourth is policy framework. Universities need clear policies to ensure AR becomes a sustainable part of digital learning innovation. Fifth, device access. Providing access through device support programs or policies can improve equal opportunities for AR-based learning. And finally, institutional infrastructure. Successful AR adoption requires a strong infrastructure, technical support, and institutional commitment. Overall, AR implementation requires more than introducing new technology. It requires alignment between learning objectives, human resource development, accessibility, and institutional support. And so to conclude our findings, this study shows that perceived usefulness has the strongest influence on lecturers' attitudes toward using AR, with a significant relationship value of beta coefficient of 0.613. This means that lecturers are more likely to accept AR when they recognize its benefit for teaching and learning. Furthermore, positive attitudes influence behavioral intention to use AR, and this intention eventually leads to actual usage behavior. The study also found that perceived ease of use does not significantly influence attitude toward AR adoption. This suggests that lecturers are more concerned about the educational impact of AR rather than only its technical simplicity. However, we do realize that this study has several limitations. For example, the sample size that we have is very limited to 48 lecturers from 3 universities, meaning that the findings in our research may not represent all educational fields. And the study also focuses specifically on office administration education and marker-based AR technology. Future research may explore broader disciplines, larger samples, and different AR technologies. Augmented reality has the potential to transform higher education by making learning more visual, interactive, and engaging. However, successful implementation depends on understanding users, supporting educators, and creating institutional readiness. And throughout this study, we hope to contribute a practical perspective for universities in Indonesia and beyond to strengthen digital learning innovation. Thank you very much for your attention. I would be happy to answer any questions or discuss further about this research, if there is any. Thank you.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for the presenter?
Yes. I just want to ask one question about whatever results has been shown, they are quite quantitative. So have you done any qualitative analysis like SWOT analysis, something? because that also matters a lot, like how the users think the quality of the methodology or the implementation we have done. So what about the qualitative analysis? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Junali, for the question. You, you're asking about what about the qualitative discoveries that we see in this research, right?
Right, absolutely. What type of qualitative analysis you have done? Like you are still in the study phase, right? The samples are also quite low. So I just want to know, apart from quantitative analysis, any type of qualitative analysis conducted by you?
Yes, actually, we use a mixed method approach. So we not only do surveys and analyze from the quantitative side, but we also do a qualitative interviews with some of the respondents from the three universities, and we see that there is boundaries. So like I said that we we take the respondents from three different universities from Indonesia, and it is from different places too. So some of them are in other island, and it does make a difference. Like for the respondents from Universitas Negeri Makassar, they have much more difficulties for doing the digital innovation such as augmented reality, because the facilities there are not very supported for that. Is
Okay,
it?
okay, I got it. Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Hello, Shani. Thank you, Shani, and to your team for sharing this relevant study. My question is, what concrete implementation strategies would you recommend for universities seeking to move the lecturers from a behavioral intention to a long-term curriculum integration and sustained actual usage of the AR technologies? Thank you, Shani.
Thank you, Mrs. April, for the questions. You asked about the strategic implementation for other universities. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Okay, so I actually already present about the strategic implementation. Especially in our research, we recommend to do a pedagogical priority. So the universities should focus on demonstrating the AR's educational benefits first for the lecturers, because then they'll be more open to use it. And next, universities should also integrate AR, augmented reality, into their curricula, and even do a faculty workshop. So there will be training programs, but it's not only going to teach how to use the AR itself, but also how to use and implement it for a meaningful learning strategy. And furthermore, we also need to have a policy framework and also devices access that can ensure everyone can have an equal opportunities for AR-based learning. And moreover, the universities should also have a strong infrastructure, technical support, and the institutional commitment to use AR for a new learning experience. Maybe that's my question. Thank you once again, Mrs. April.
Thank you, Shani, and congratulations.
Thank you for the presentation. I would like to call the next presenter, Ain Nasrul, for the paper title, The Effect of Corporate Governance Mechanisms on Financial Distress evidence from energy sector companies listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. So you can start your screen share.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Anastasia, and I'm presenting on behalf and my co-author Roy Budiharjo from the accounting program at the School of Economic and Business Telkom University Indonesia. First, I like to thank to the organizing committee of the TIBS 2026 for the opportunity to share our work today. Our paper looks at the question that's been a lot of mindfully lately. Now, we test this using 5 years of data from energy companies on the Indonesian Stock Exchange. And what we found was, frankly, a bit more nuanced than we expect. Let me walk you through it. This is our study on corporate governance and financial distress focused on energy compliance lesson on Indonesian Stock Exchange. We choose this sector deliberately. This one of the most financially exposed sector there is, which make it a stronger setting to test whether governance mechanism actually work the way theories say they should. Okay, what's the next? Gimana next? Oh, okay. Indonesian energy sector contribution around 10.5% of GDP, economically significant, but structurally fragile. These firms are capital intense, so to pay back investment, and exposed to volatile commodity price and shifting regulation. One case crystallizes this for us is Ratu Prabu Energy Company, ticker RT. In 2024, they post a net loss of nearly 5 billion rupiah, revenue down more than 77%, and an Almazy score of negative 5.16. Well, into distress theory, since anything below 1.181 count as distress. We found out wasn't just a number, it was that governance weakness show up too. Delayed debt restructuring reporting issue. That raised the question driving this paper, is governance actually doing its job here? Here's the core tension. Agency theory tells us that when ownership and management are separated, conflict of interest emerge. Management may act in its own interest rather than shareholders. That's the diagram on the right, shareholders, management, and the friction between them. Governance mechanism, institutional ownership, audit committee, board gender diversity, exist in theory to reduce that friction. But the literature is generally mixed. Some studies find governance significantly reduce distress, others find no effect. Firm edge is even less settled, experience versus stagnation, and especially for Indonesian energy sector in this 2020 to 2024 period, from level evidence one simply thin. With this, we test for governance-related variables again, financial distress, institutional ownership, audit committee, board gender diversity, and from edge. For each, the question is the same. Does it actually move the needle of financial distress? We measure financial distress using the Almanzi double prime score, a composition index of probability, liquidity, and solvency. Higher score, healthy firm. Let me ground this quickly in the theory behind. Our anchor is agency theory, Jensen and McLean 1926, explaining why conflict emerge between owners and management and how that can drive risky of my self-serving decision. For the institutional investor are assumed to be sophisticated monitor, so more institutional ownership should mean less opportunism. Audit committee and board gender diversity are theorized to improve transparency. True evidence here is inconsistent. And from edge, cut both ways, organizational learning theory suggests managing building resilience, but very odd from risk rigidity. Okay, this is our roadmap. For independent variable on the left, institutional ownership, audit committee, board gender diversity, and from edge. Each hypothesis to negative affect financial distress. Stronger governance, theoretical means a healthy z-score. Those are H2 through H5. H1 at the bottom tests whether all four together have significant. This framework is adapted from Wardani 2020 study, extend with institutional ownership and firm edge. We use a descriptive casual design with panel data, combining multiplier firm with multiplier years for a richer picture. Data come from annual report and financial statements. With proposing sampling from consistently listen and not suspend. For our final sample was 28 from across 2020 to 2024 and 114 from years observation. Panel data can be estimated three ways: common effect, fixed effect, or random effect model. So we can run Chow, Houseman, and Lagrange multiplier test to find the best fit. I'll show you the result next. This is the result. To highlight, note every number. One average, our sample, Alman Z-score is 6.53 in the healthy zone above 2.16, but variation across firm is large, which tell us the average heights vary different individual situation, consistent with the RT case earlier. One more number worth flagging, audit committee average just under 3 members. Essential the bare regulation minimum set by Indonesian OJK. Keep that in mind, it matters for the discussion. On model selection, 3 sectorial tests chose Houseman and Lagrange multiplier, all point to the same conclusion. The common effect model was the best fit for our data. That's the model behind everything is about to show. This is the result column. 3 variable, institutional ownership, audit committee, and board gender diversity. I'll come back not significant. Institutional ownership get close at peak equals 0.07, but doesn't cross the threshold. One variable stand out from edge, highly significant, P below 0.001 with a positive coefficient. The overall model explanation about 25% of the variation in financial distress. And it's statistically significant as a whole. 25% sounds modest, but for firm-level financial behavior shaped by many external forces, that's reasonably solid result. Quickly, hypothesis by hypothesis, institutional ownership, audit committee, and board gender diversity all come back to not significant. And the pattern behind all three is similar. Having the structural on paper doesn't guarantee it's functional. Most audit committee remember sit right at the regular minimum, not much room for the model to detect an effect. Female board representation is still under 16%, possibility too low yet to show a measured impact. From edge is the expectation significant and positive. Older firm is our sample show healthier Z-score. The opposite direction from our original hypothesis. Our rate established from likely benefit from stronger network and easier financial access, outweighing any stagnation effect here. One sense summary, this governance quality and implementation matter more than governance structure alone. Briefly, 3 implementation for theory. Structure isn't the same as effect monitoring against misdat detection. For regulation, if committees are all sitting at the minimum headcount, then headcount rules alone aren't enough. Quality-based standards, like independent and meeting coherency, may work better. And for the management, treat governance as something you actually run, not a compliant checkbox. To summarize the whole study, using the common effect model on 28 firms and 115 observations, our model explains about a quarter of the variation in financial distress and isn't significant overall of our governance variable test. Only from edge come out significant. The core message, implementation quality matters more than structural present. A quick elimination, we didn't capture deeper governance. Quality indicator meeting frequency independent and our sample is energy sector specific. Future work should extend to other emerging market energy sector and test macroeconomic moderator like commodity price. And with that, let me close. So, corporate governance, financial distress, and what really driving outcomes in Indonesian energy sector. The short version, structure alone isn't enough. Implementation and quality are what count. Thank you for your attention and thank you for the TIBS 2026 committee for this platform. Roy and I will be glad to take your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so yours work is a really good work. You have done a good job. What else I need to ask you about is like, have you compared your work with other significant works to know in which position you are in or how much effective is your work than the other such works available in the literature? Thank you.
Miss, you're cutting off. Can you repeat that, please?
I'm sorry, Miss. Can you repeat that, please? Sorry.
My question is, have you compared your work with the other such works which are already available? Just I need the information regarding the comparative analysis. If you have performed of your work with other search works which are already available. Okay, it's okay. No issue.
Thank you for your question, Miss. I have been I have been compare my findings with pressure studies during the discussion section. I found that some of my research results are consistent with early research, while others are different. For example, previous study report mixed result regarding the effect of institutional ownership and birth gender diversity on financial distress. And my findings also indicate that these variables are not significant in Indonesia energy sector. Therefore, my study adds empirical evidence to the exist literature in this specific content.
Okay. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Ayn. We acknowledge your rigor and relevance of your study. My question is, what specific governance practices or mechanisms might be most critical for mitigating the financial distress in the Indonesian energy sector and why? Thank you, Ayn.
Thank you, Miss, for your question. Based on the findings, the most critical corporate governance practice are improving the effectiveness of governance mechanism rather than simply fulfilling regulatory requirements. For company in the Indonesian sector energy, this includes strengthening the independence and competence of the audit committee, increasing transparency and financial disclosure, engaging board oversharing and risk management, and ensuring activity monitoring by institutional investor. In addition, governance policies that promote good corporate governance, strengthen regulator supervision, and encourage greater transparency can help company detect financial problem earlier and reduce the risk of financial distress.
Thank you, Ayn, and congratulations.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for the presentation. The next author I would like to call is Raj Kiran Nair.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You may start your screen.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, it's visible. Okay.
You're
Can
on
I
the
start?
thank you side as of now.
Is it okay?
I can still see the thank you side.
Okay, okay. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. You may start.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning, respected, distinguished fellow researchers and participants. I'm Rajkaran from Amrita School of Business, Kochi, and it's my privilege to present our research titled Advancing Women's Financial Inclusion Through Digital Investment Platforms. So, I would like to acknowledge my co-authors, Ms. Arya K. and Durga KV. So today's presentation focuses on understanding the key factors that influence women's intention to adopt financial investment platforms and how these platforms can contribute greater financial inclusion. So about the background and importance, digital transformation has significantly changed the financial services industry. Today, people can invest in stock, mutual fund, ETFs, and other financial products using mobile applications and online platforms within minutes. Though these technologies have improved accessibility and reduced investment costs, women continue to participate less in digital investments, especially in developing countries. This gender gap exists because investment decisions are influenced not only by technology but also by trust, financial literacy, perceived security, social influence, and perceived risk. Understanding these factors is essential because increasing women's participation in financial market promote financial independence, wealth creation, and exclusive economic growth. So the research gap and objectives. In previous studies, we have relied on technological acceptance model, which focuses on variables such as perceived usefulness, perceived ease to use. However, these traditional models do not completely explain women's investment behavior. They overlook important psychological and financial factors such as security, trust, financial capability, and perceived risk. Therefore, our study attempts to provide a more comprehensive framework. So our objectives are to examine influence of technological related factors on women's adoption intention, to assess the role of trust and financial capability, to analyze the impact of perceived risk and social influence on adoption intention. So, moving on to the literature review suggests that fintech has transformed investment opportunities by providing ease to use, lower transaction cost, personalized financial services. Researchers have reported that the digital platforms improve financial accessibility and reduce traditional barriers. However, several studies also indicate that women remain cautious because of the concern regarding security, privacy, financial knowledge, and trust. Existing studies provide valuable insights but do not accurately explain the combined influence of these variables on women's adoption intention. So the conceptual framework and hypotheses. Based on the literature, we proposed a research framework existing of several independent variables such as perceived ease to use, perceived usefulness, perceived security, financial literacy, trust, perceived value, risk perception, and social influence. These variables have hypothesized to influence women's intention to adopt digital investment platforms. So here we can see that the hypothesis that is perceived is to use positively influence adoption intention. The perceived usefulness positively influence the adoption intention. Perceived security positively influences the adoption intention. Financial literacy positively influences the adoption intention. Trust positively influences
adoption intention. Perceived value positively influences adoption intention. Risk perception, that is negatively influencing the adoption intention, and social influence, that is positively influencing the adoption intention. So moving on to the research methodology, the study adopted a descriptive cross-sectional survey design. The target respondents were women who had prior experience using digital, financial, or investment services. A convenient sampling method was adopted. A total of 201 valid responses were collected, and the questionnaire was developed using previously evaluated measurement scale and modified for the context of digital investment platforms. The collected data were analyzed using statistical techniques including correlation analysis, multiple regression analysis, and ANOVA. These methods help us to examine the relationship between the proposed variables. So moving on to the findings, the first objective focused on the technological factors. The correlation analysis indicated positive relationship between perceived age to use, perceived usefulness, perceived security, and the woman adoption to digital platforms. However, the regression analysis revealed a more interesting finding. Among these variables, perceived security emerged as the strongest statistically significant predictor. The regression model explained approximately 53.5% of variation in adoption intention. These findings suggest that women place a higher priority on security of digital investment platforms. Even if a platform is easy to use, useful, women may hesitate to adopt it if they are not confident about the safety of their personal and financial information. And the second objective was to examine the influence of financial literacy, trust, and perceived value. So correlation analysis was done, and that shows all three variables are positively related to adoption intention. However, when multiple regression analysis was performed, financial literacy emerged as the only statistically significant predictor. Trust and perceived value remained positively associated but did not show significant direct effect. This result indicates that financial knowledge plays a central role in encouraging women to invest digitally. The women who understand financial products and investment concepts are more confident in making investment decisions. Financial literacy reduces uncertainty and improves confidence, ultimately encouraging platform adoption. And the third objective was to
Excuse me, sir. It's just
yeah.
a little reminder that the presentation time is up. You have 2 minutes to conclude your presentation.
Okay. So third objective was to which we can see that is the negative relationship between the risk and adoption intention. So the regression analysis indicated that either variables had a statistically significant direct effect. This suggests that these factors may operate indirectly through variables such as trust, confidence, and financial literacy. So discussion was done on the findings, and the first discussion was that security matters more than convenience. Many fintech companies invest heavily in improving customer experience, but safety matters more than other experiences. Second is financial literacy is key driver. So educated investors are more likely to invest in investment opportunities and assess risk and make informed financial decisions. And third is the trust and perceived value. Social influence and risk perception are important. Their effect appears indirect and rather direct. This suggests that improving financial education and platform security can simultaneously strengthen other factors. So the practical implication is that the company should strengthen cybersecurity and communicate security measures. The financial institutions should conduct financial literacy programs, especially designed for women. Makers should promote awareness campaigns to improve women participation in digital investments. So future researches can be done, and the study can be used. The study uses convenience sampling, so which is limited. So we can actually improve the research by giving more samples, taking more samples. The research focuses only on women, and for this, further studies may compare women and male and female investors to examine rural and urban population separately. Researchers may also deploy longitudinal study to understand how digital investment behavior changes over time. So concluding, the study concludes that the perceived security and financial literacy are the strongest drivers of financial adoption, women's adoption of digital investment platforms. Traditional technology acceptance models alone cannot explain investment behavior. Strengthening cybersecurity and financial education can significantly improve women financial inclusion. Thank you.
Okay, the topic is quite significant, definitely. Just I want to ask one question on this. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to ask one question on this. Like you told, you have taken the samples, collected the data from different questionnaires. So, what type of questionnaires you have used? Can you put some light on it?
Ma'am, actually, we have used both quantitative as well as behavioral factors, so we can understand more about the behavior of the women who are investing. So we have done this on the women who are actually investing right now. So we can actually improve our study to uh, give more to provide more light on the investment part of women who are not investing, so we can actually bring them to the investment platforms.
That is okay. I'm simply asking what type of questions you have put there. Some examples?
Ma'am, actually we have taken the factors, actually as I have discussed the factors affecting the women adoption. So we have taken the variables and we have asked the questions about the variables, about the usefulness, about the security part, then the value, the risk. So with that we could actually understand what they have, what problems they are facing, and what they think about the adoption part.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Raji Kiran. This is in support with Dr. Junali's question. What areas require further investigation to better understand women's financial inclusion in the digital era and why?
Yes, ma'am. So, about the women's financial inclusion part, most of the women investors or the people who are interested to invest in fintech platforms, they are actually scared of the things like the cyber security part and about the frauds that are happening in day to day life. So, if we are actually highly if you're actually giving light on that, I think that we can actually bring them back to the investing part. As a developing country like India, the women participation in financial sectors are very less. So I think that if we are providing them with financial education, with the knowledge of the cyber security part, we can actually bring them to the investment area, and actually we can improve the adoption intention.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your presentation. I would like to call the last author, Mamata Kura.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you may start your screen share.
1 minute, sir. Give me 1 minute, sir. Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to give the conference on hybrid unit with attention gates for lung nodule segmentation in low-dose CT scans. So here my topic main motto is to detect the lung cancer in earlier stages. So the title is a hybrid unit model with attention gates that help the AI focus on suspicious lung regions and accurately segment lung nodules from low-dose CT scans and to detect earlier to reduce the death rates. So the introduction, coming to the introduction part. So lung cancer is the main lead cause of lung cancer related to worldwide death rates. So here lung cancers are two types. First one is the small scale lung cancer and non-small scale lung cancer. So the reason of this lung cancer is more affected on smoking history and pollution. These two are the major cause of leading cause of lung cancer. So for earlier detection of lung cancer, here I'm using the low-dose CT scans, but these CT scans is very crucial for improving survival rates because of the accurate detection and segmentation of pulmonary nodules. Pulmonary nodules is the minute tissues in LDCT scans is technically challenges. Why? Because the image is very low contrast and the nodule size is variable. It may be shape is some patients nodule size is very small. Some different types of size and shapes is going on, and overlapping anatomical structures and imaging actors. And at the same time, to identify pulmonary nodules that may indicate earlier stage malignation. So these are the few approaches and limitations. So in this, I'm going to use the deep learning for better results. In that, I'm using the CNN and UNet for fundamentals of state-of-art segmentation. So in that period, I'm facing little bit limitations. That is the first one is the lack transparency and black box. So here, what happened? Whenever we are just give the any query to AI give the some results. So doctors are just follow that results, but these results are it may be reach the results or else it very difficult to trust also. And the next one, the performance degradation. So here, the when image quality is very poor, or else the image is not proper way. So on that case, AI is it takes time. And second and third one is the model generalizability. So in that, AI models are work in one place, one hospital in well, and some other hospitals are it takes more critical because of the depends on the equipment scanning methods and patient populations. And the next one is the high computational demands and reliance on large annotated data sets. So here, whenever we are training and running these AI models, requires very powerful computers and large amount of labeled medical data. It may be expensive and time consuming. And the next one is accuracy interoperability trade-off. So here, more accurate AI models are often harder to understand. While simpler and more understandable models are maybe less accurate. And the last one is the absence of unified hybrid frameworks. Nowadays, everyone using the hybrid models. It means we are combining two or more models. No single model is not effectively working. So these are the few limitations. So this is the motivation for the hybrid approach. So increasing the volume of LDCT scans demands automated, accurate interpretation. And manual interpretation is time consuming and prone to variability. Consequences of false positives or negatives. It may be depends on the patient anxiety, delayed diagnosis, unnecessary procedures. if you need for the balance strategy, integrating engineered, that is the handcrafted features with deep learning, deep features. And the last one is the deep features captures high level semantic patterns, and at the same time AI assisted imaging is evolving towards comprehensive systems for risk satisfaction and personalized planning require accurate and interoperability model. So this is the problem statement. So here deep learning models lack interoperability and may underperform in noise or ultra low dose CT scans. It means next one is the traditional handcrafted features are interoperability, but insufficient for complex spatial relationship in 3D medical images. So, but they cannot fully capture the complex patterns and structures present in 3D medical images. Absence of unified frameworks that effectively combine both feature types of scalable frameworks. Here, we are successfully combining the advantage of both approaches, that is the radiomic features and at the same time traditional features. And the last one is the to combine the interoperability of handcrafted features with the powerful learning capability of deep learning features, ensuring high accuracy, better transparency, and greater clinical usefulness. So
Excuse
this
me,
is
ma'am.
the hello.
This is just a gentle reminder that the presentation time is almost up.
Okay, sir. I just go to the this is the main framework.
Yes.
To how to identify that particular nodule is cancer cell or non-cancer cell. So here this is the framework. So this framework is having the four stages. First one is the pre-processing and candidate screening, and second one attention driven segmentation, and next dual stream feature extraction, and finally clinical decision support. In the first one, in the first step, so we are collecting the raw data from data set ID LIDC data set. In that we are collecting. After collecting, we are just applying the HU windowing and normalization. So here, why we are applying this HU windowing and normalization? So whenever we are collecting raw data, these scans are converted to the Hans units, and after that we are applying the windowing technique. In that we just identifying the highlighted lung cells. So here the cells is range is minus 1000 to 400 HU units. After that we are applying the normalization. So here we are just giving the 0 sign once. After that lung field segmentation and ROI extraction. So in that first we are collecting the lungs are isolated from the surrounded chest structures to create the region of interest. By focusing only on the lung area, the model process less data, works more efficiently, and reduce false detection caused by structured outside the lungs. And after the 3D Bob detection for candidate nodules. So in that we just identify if all the nodules are, we are identifying that nodules are non cancer cells or not. At the same time, we are recollecting. If here some we are just checking the given structures cells are the nodules are the cancer cells, and at the same time we are just taking the non-cancer cells also. After that, this is the second phase. So here the attention enhanced segmentation model. In that we just where the nodule might be and exact what the nodule boundaries are. So in that first one, patch extraction 2D or 3D. So here the given cells is we are taking the 3D. Here I'm using the 3D patches to improve the model generalization and prevent outputting. These patches undergoing the we are just applying the some rotations, flips, and we are just adding the data augmentation for better results. After that, we go to the attention enhance unit. In that, we have the two sides are there. First one, here we are applying unit architecture. So squeeze and excitation blocks and attention gates. So these two are main purpose is we just identifying and at the same time classifying purpose. Squeeze and excitation blocks are channel wise features. We are just focus on the channel wise, and next augmentation gates are we just focus on the skip connections. After that, we are just adding the loss function. So here in loss function, we combine the dice loss plus boundary loss. And the third one is the hybrid feature extraction. So hybrid feature extraction means we are combining radiomic features and deep learning streams. So here radiomic streams in the sense we are using the pi radiomic. Here just use the shape texture with the help of GLCM and RLZSM. And next deep learning, in that we just use the 3D RenseNet architecture. And future fusion means we just combine both the streams, concatenation and high dimensional representation of each candidate nodule. And the final phase is classification and clinical decision support. In that we are applying the MLP classifier. So here MLP classifier is focus on the vector to perform the final classification. The given nodule is the cancer cell or non-cancer cell. So the predictive output is generate the malignancy score. So here this malignancy score is represent the probability that the nodule is malignant. And for better interpretability, the segmentation map is overlaid on the original CT image. Here we are highlighted the exact region that influenced the AI prediction. So the radiologist can visually verify and understand the AI decision making process. So here we are using the oxel level segmentation map. So oxel level segmentation maps is the CT scans are three-dimensional. The model works at the oxel level only. So each tiny 3D unit as the nodule, producing the precise segmentation map that clearly shows the size, shape, and location of the lung nodule.
Actually, so here presentation time is up. So if it's okay, then we can move forward with the question and answer.
Okay, sir. So this is the main motto of my title. This framework will tell how we are detect the non-small cell lung nodules. So with the help of unit and squeeze and excitation and attention beats. With the help of these one, we just combining radiomic features and deep learning. So this is my topic. So is there any questionnaire, sir? Hello.
Ma'am, if you have any questions for the author.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thank you for sharing this research, Mamata. My question is, how do you balance the trade-off between the model complexity and the clinical applicability in the real-world rural and urban healthcare settings? Thank you.
So, dice similarity coefficient, with the help of dice similarity coefficient, we are just balancing, ma'am.
How about its applicability in the healthcare setting, the rural and urban healthcare settings.
In rural area also, we just scanning with the help of scanning images only. We are just focusing on.
Thank you, Mamata.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm stop screen. Yeah. Thank you so much. I sincerely thank all the authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during the virtual conference. We will be very happy to have you in the next version in 2027. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. The publications will be live within 7 to 8 months. Kindly cooperate with the same with the team of TIBS. I also thank our session chair, Professor April Gumnad, and Professor Junali Jasmine Jana for chairing the session. This is a token of appreciation from the team. I request all to switch on the camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. Thank you very much.